Good morning. Are you more bullish now than you were when we spoke last time? Market's almost back to all-time highs.
Actually, last I was bearish at end of or at the peak of pessimism because I had much worse fears on demonetization. But I think we spoke last on budget day, by which time I was okay. I turned in the first 2 weeks of Jan, basically because of the positives that came from liquidity side initially, and then the results. So I've been okay since first February, like 10, 15th of Jan.
Okay. Morning, Samir. Good to have you on a day when everyone's feeling good. Mainly I wanted your reaction on the exit poll numbers. Looks like it's a landslide for the BJP in Uttar Pradesh. How does that change life for an investor?
I think that may not change, but may continue or sustain this rally. But I would have thought that if BJP had, supposing UP disappointed in terms of these exit polls or in actual, that would matter only for a few days if the rest of the world is strong and stable. Because I don't think that even if now of course they've done well, which is great for our market and everything else, but if they were to disappoint a little in the actual results or otherwise, you could not draw conclusions from that about what happens in 2019. This is still a very specific issue at each state level. So the fact that they win is great for everybody, but even if they had not, or it has not happened yet, I don't think that alone would have punctured the rally, but maybe it would have paused it for a few days, provided the rest of the world continues to be strong as it is these days.
Okay, well, one of the stocks of the moment now is Bharat Financial Inclusion because it's gained about, 2% right now. The volume action is quite strong here. Samir, hi, morning. This is a stock that has almost doubled over the last 3 months, and now we're getting news from IndusInd that they're not denying the merger or any kind of expansion. In fact, they're saying that they're evaluating strategic opportunities. We were discussing this yesterday as to why would a company like Bharat Financial give weak guidance at a time when there is a possible merger coming through. What's your rationale?
I don't know. I don't own the stock, but I've been a student of the market for 20 odd years, and I find it amazing that a company comes in the middle of, if it is, first of all, who knows whether it is or it is not, but if it is in the middle of being taken out to come and give, in effect, a negative guidance, it is almost as if the bidder, let's say if it is IndusInd, has said that, these numbers are so bad, I want you to declare them before I even look at you or finalize with you. But it is amazing from the company's point of view. I think it is worthy of a book because let's imagine what are all the possibilities of why somebody would come one day before, and let's put it in a different way. So let us say we are buying a gold company where we think that the company has a lot of gold that it will discover in a mine, and the company knows that there is no gold or finds that there is no gold, and they come out with a warning saying we are sorry, there's no gold in this mine, and crores of shares trade and many people sell and many people buy, and 2 days later they say, yeah, but in the same mine we found some diamonds, but the conference call was about gold because that is where your expectations were. So in the middle of an event, talking the negative part can only be either to bring down the price, which I hope that that's not the intention, or secondly, because the bidder said that your numbers are so bad. But either way, I feel, because we are owners of IndusInd for the last maybe 7-8 years, since 2009, I think they are bailing out, and I don't agree with it. Because right now, the premium is already built in. The stock went from at least say 600 on these rumors. And in India, we have another problem that companies only say when a board approves. They should openly say that we are in talks, like they do in US, and then the talks fail. But to say, oh, the board has not decided. Imagine if every sensitive information was only when the board approves. That means the day before the board approves, the company can do what it wants. So I'm in disagreement with the whole thing, but more than that, it's interesting more than anything else.
Samir, what about fund flows? We have seen some FI flows returning. Do you get a sense that this could be ETF driven? We've seen of late quite a bit of ETF money into the market. Your sense of that?
ETF simply because if you look at the days when the market was weak, I think the last 1 or 2 weeks, I saw that the market would only rally from 3 to 330, which brought, or sort of at the end of the day, which broadly is ETF kind of money, which has to by necessity come in the last half an hour to match the prices. So it must be that, but overall flows are there. Of course, we've had 2 deals or whatever, that one deal of Kotak and others. So generally, that means FIs are otherwise also interested, and they should be because they're investing everywhere else too.
Okay. Well, Samir, a few more questions, or at least one more on the deal we were speaking about, or potential deal. You said that you own IndusInd. Now, everything is good at a price. At what, 7 IndusInd shares for 10 SKS, are you okay? 6 IndusInd shares, are you okay? Or are you not okay at all?
Actually, I am not okay because I think there's an inbuilt premium. I don't care in the end. I'm not going to sell IndusInd on this basis, but I feel that you should be taken for a ride, and you're being taken for a ride. Because the fact is that the stock has gone up on this rumor, and to now say that we want more premium from here is what I don't like. As an IndusInd, if I was a Bharat Financial owner, which I was for many years, 3-4 years, I would have said that it should be done at market price. So don't worry about me. That's why I don't feel so much whether it gets done or not. I feel that there should be an answer as to why you would guide this market down one day before it leaks that the deal is about to happen in 5 or 10 days. That to me looks, there is no explanation for it. Because the purpose of a guidance down is because the company feels that the share price imagines something and that is not happening. So it is our duty to bring fairness to that price, that there is some hype built into it. Therefore, we must bring down the expectations. And separately, you say that 10% higher, we're about to sell it, but we can't tell that to you on that day. That is what I find odd. But more than that, I don't think that I'm going to sell IndusInd on this basis that it's paid maybe 10% more on a dilution they'll have, 12, 14, whatever percent they'll have.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So let's move on then. DMart has got a sort of a star status in the IPO market. Today is the last day, and we hear that a lot of big investors would be pumping in money today. Are you one of them, and are you recommending retail investors to do the same?
I am not pumping in only because my cost of buying in a open market is very high, because we have to put in as foreigners, so there has to be a currency hedge. So the cost, because the problem is that whatever we buy, or not buy, whatever we apply for, you want to get maybe 1/200th of that. So what do you do with, how much should you buy to be able to get a meaningful amount in the application? Therefore, from that angle, I'm not applying. But I am hoping that it doesn't open more than 30-40% higher, and then I would buy that day. But it looks that it's going to be a hot stock today, and will be hot on opening. And if it opens too much higher, then we will unfortunately not be owning it, but it will be a great one to own, I would think.
Okay. And what would that mean for market, Samir? Because, we had that Snapchat IPO as well in US, and that huge listing that it saw. Anecdotally, sometimes these big listings happen at the tail end of a market rally, at least in the near term. Could that be a bit of a risk?
No, I don't think so. That this one is going to trigger a correction on its own account, because it is actually a good business and very good numbers, and you can imagine a very good opportunity in India. So it's not something which looks like some hype that has been created. We know that a few IPOs did but were coincident with a fall in the market. But if I were to think, which I can't right now, there must have been many other IPOs which were done at sort of the middle of the rally or at the start of a rally or nothing like that. So I don't think that this stock should be considered as creating unnecessary hype. It is justified, although the people may not make enough money, because the magnitude of allocation that you will get relative to whatever be your own personal size will be very low to not make a meaningful return. But that doesn't mean that otherwise anybody should not buy it. Everybody should buy it if they could, and particularly at this price, at the price at which the IPO is happening.
Okay, there was just a news flashing on the screen. Edelweiss, that block actually was first Carlyle selling its stake, nearly 10% stake, and a clutch of investors buying it. So that's, I think, being broken by Nimesh. So we should get some more details from him on that.
Okay. All right. We'll just have Nimesh coming in a minute. Samir, if you look at the manner in which the global economy appears to be reflating. Yesterday's Draghi statement that he's guiding up the GDP and the inflation, and of course the US Fed likely to hike primarily because they see good job numbers, they see an economic recovery. Are we in something like the 2009 situation where we saw a V-shaped recovery in markets?
Mr. Rhythm, this I believe, that is too aggressive to imagine. But anything half of that, one third of that would be considered equally good, and there would be no change in a portfolio if it was even one third as good as 2009. But in general, I have put a lot of my money in US recently in the last 2-3 months. The US financials, US banks, and all are on a tier there. And for every 0.5% or 1% rise in interest rates, their profits go up. Like for JP Morgan, maybe $1 billion or $2 billion for every 1%. So it's a momentum, but there is a logic to the momentum. And generally the world is doing well, so yeah, it can continue. But let's not imagine 2009, because last year was not like 2008. Half the reason, or 90% actually of the reason why the markets rallied in 2009 was because they had fallen in 2008.
No, fair point, fair point. That's an exaggeration. But what I'm asking you is that, is this a great risk environment?
I think it is, yes.
Okay.
Because this interest rate hike, we have seen in 5 to 7 and 5 to 8, there were maybe 12 to 14 interest rate hikes in the US, and it didn't bother. So these 1, 2, 3 doesn't matter right now if the rest of because it affects positively also many other sides of the same economy.
Okay, so how are you going to be spending your Holy weekend then? Are you going to be looking to increase your allocation in the Indian markets, or do you have better plans?
Better plans is because Holy weekend you can't increase, so you have to either increase it before or after. And we are already at about 71%, which is pretty high for us, so we are happy.
Okay, 71%. What areas are you short on, Samir, right now?
See, we are forced to be short because we like to be short and all that. But actually, this time the mix has changed. So we are 95 long only, which used to be even 120 long, and we are 24 short. Because many of our shorts we've had to give up on because of the hype around events like telecom and all that. But there are a few places you can find. Doesn't mean you have to make money. This is a cheaper insurance than buying puts. And when markets correct, which they do, I'm going to make a presentation in Bombay, but I can make for you sometime, that in our market for the last 11, 12 years we have seen, you look at all the good funds, and we are one of them, that the money saved has more value than money earned in a good month. And this we had not just theoretically, but with actual monthly data of each mutual fund which is doing well, an offshore fund. It did not matter what you did in a good month of the market. What mattered was how much you lost in a bad month, and it's sort of black and white if you see it. That even if you save 1-2% in a bad month and underperform a little bit in the way compounding works, so that is the protection we seek. Sometimes we will lose in a strong month, but once we accept that philosophy, we don't overly bother.
Oh yes, that's that presentation I still remember, Samir. It was quite interesting in Bangkok, and I'm looking forward to this one in Bombay, of course. Yes, I know that. I'm sure that's of course our star attraction for the Traders Carnival that we have at the end of April. This time it's in Mumbai, and Samir of course will be part of that. So Samir, looking forward to that. I'm sure there will be a lot of participation on that.
Okay.
Pleasure speaking with you, Samir. As always, have a great Holy weekend and a great year ahead. Look forward to you in Mumbai.